right, and we're back with another live CTF. I'm joined by Perry Bus, whichever you prefer.
Yeah, both work. Yeah,
both are good, from Nautilus Institute. So I actually have been doing this portion of the live CTF from, we'll call it the secret dungeon,
headquarters,
secret HQ. There we go.
Yeah,
the headquarters of the Nautilus Institute. Most of the team, not everyone, but a good chunk of the team is here. So we thought
have a quorum.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. There's enough folks here, and that's how they've been able to coordinate and communicate so well. So we thought we'd do just a quick questions. And in fact, if the chat has any questions too, you can ask. No promises that we'll be able to answer them. But tell us just like overall kind of where we are through the whole weekend, like how many challenges are currently unlocked, and do we have like the same number, approximately how many are remaining, or what's the state of that?
I don't want to go into too much detail, but I think I can say that we're about halfway through the challenges that we expect to be unlocked. But it depends on how well you all solve them.
That's because you don't control the unlock pace necessarily. Some of it you guys do unlock, but some of them are, they're based on, this is the new, so the open house meme, I guess, it used to be like the on fire, and now it's based on kind of open house. So I thought that was
moving on to the next property.
Yeah,
I will say that we do have some admin privileges if we need to intervene,
if necessary.
If you guys aren't doing too well.
So that's like the real estate lock boxes, those little things that you can hang in the door. Like the real estate agents can always take care of things.
Today I've learned that Dolly is not very good at actually generating images of those lock boxes.
You tried a lot. There was a number of credits spent.
Yes. Real money was spent trying to generate those images for the website.
I hope people appreciate those. That's been really good. And so at the beginning, I know there was a little bit of like infrastructure trouble. What's the like the scoop on that? Can we get like a little bit of a? So
infrastructure is always very hard, and we happen to be very popular this year. And so when everyone playing across the world tries to hit our servers all at once, sometimes that can lead to issues that we weren't able to anticipate. So we had a bit of an IOPS problem where every time someone connected, it would try to read a file from disk, and it was a rather large file. And so we had to switch over the hardware that we were using on our cloud infrastructure. And that took a little bit of time. So we really appreciate everyone bearing with us.
And if you guys have questions about apparently how to like run a really heavily loaded event in Azure, you should ping the Nautilus Institute. They'll have we've got somebody. Okay, somebody the question in chat looks like it's more for the live CTF portion. So Sky Kaba, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But any last bits of feedback for the audience, or are you guys just ready to be like done and over with a successful qualification round?
I'm having fun. So the great thing about Quals is once the work really happens beforehand, as long as the challenges work, you're home free. We just get to sit around and eat food and watch you guys try to pwn some shit.
I was waiting for you to say suffer.
Yeah,
but
suffer.
Like you did. I mean, the nicer way is just watch them pwn it. So
yeah,
awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Jordan.
Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. All right, and with that, we'll go back to the rest of our team. In fact, we actually have the whole team. So we've got all 4 of our live CTF members here.
Hello.
We have all 4 and the honorary crow outside the window.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so we just wrapped up another challenge. It was the Benchmark challenge created by Josh, and we also just released another challenge called P-Trace Me Maybe, which is written by Glenn as well, or not as well, but it's written by Glenn. So let's start by looking at the challenge we just had. So Josh, you want to go through some stats and look at some solutions?
Yeah, totally. So stats-wise, first solve took just over 30 minutes. 33 minutes, and it was by the Parliament of Ducks, which I always love their merger names. And it pretty much followed what my solution was. We'll go through the source of the challenge, and then we'll go through my solution and then the structure of everyone's solutions. So if we're on my screen share, which should be up, and Jordan's mic is not working.
That's a classic.
Yeah,
the intro was going too well. Okay, we are. So going through, people probably picked this up. It's a service that runs your shellcode for you, and it measures it, and it has very accurate timings that definitely aren't just calls to random, because I couldn't get the actual timer to work. So people recovered structures, or at least they had an idea of what they were. And what actually happens is you send in, where is it? Given a menu, you send in a file name to run. It reads it in, then it runs it. You can check the results, which is just like the output of files or the output of runs. And it'll go through, it'll check if it's done, so on and so forth. Print some stats about it. Important part is if something like failed to complete, prints it. That's big. We'll get back to that. So you go through, run file, goes through, reads the file in, so on and so forth. Alex, it create shared run result is really important here, because it later on forks, runs it in a child fork. The challenge here, because you can't just like read the file output to standard out, is we close standard in, standard out, and we use seccomp. And we use seccomp strict, and this is kind of a challenge of knowing what seccomp strict does. You can't open new FDs. You can basically read from existing FDs. I think you can close existing FDs. You can exit. It's very limited, but read from existing FDs is the big thing we're going to take advantage of here. And you'll see, where is it? I heard this challenge too long ago. So we close the opened file after we immediately fork. This is a race. You're not going to hit the close here versus the running code here. But something you can hit is while we go through, if reading a file fails, we have the open file here, but we never close it. So it'll leak to the next run through. So you do that and you hit your code. You can read from the OpenFD. You get the flag. You can write it to the shared run result, which then gets printed when you check results. That's pretty much the solution. That's what mine does, is it goes through and tries to read the flag once, read it twice. It fails because it's already open. FD leaks into the next run. We run shellcode to read from the FD and write it to our location, or the file name of the run result, and then we print the result and win. The first solution by Parliament of Ducks was almost exactly the same. Every solution more or less followed this. There were two camps. There was open flag twice, read standard in, then there was open flag once, read standard in twice. Both work. Everything followed that, except I was told that there's a team that writes their solutions in PHP, which apparently that's true. And this is cursed. That's all I have to say about it.
I mean, I think this is actually great, because this kind of motivates our very complex infrastructure setup that allows you to upload like arbitrary Docker files. Because I mean, like, if everyone was using Pwn tools, then we could have had a much simpler, system to submit challenge exploits.
When you see a Docker file start with from PHP 8.2 Alpine, you're like, something different is going on.
I respect it.
Yeah. No, I respect it. That's really cool. I love to see different approaches to it, whether it's thinking about the challenge differently or using a different, I can't even say different, using PHP. Like, yeah, so that was really cool to see.
So I do have a question back. You mentioned, Josh, that there was a, like the race was on closing the handle. So do you send like one payload and send another? Or do you have to disconnect and reconnect? Or like, what did you mean by like multiple ties through?
Oh, yeah. So when you go through this run file for the first time, it'll go through, and let's say you run flag. So you run flag, it opens, read only, checks if it opened, returns if not, creates the shared run result, so on and so forth. Count running tasks. This is just kind of like left over from how it used to run. This used to be like the original design was, oh, I'll put a race in here and you'll be able to fill it if you like send the same file open twice. And I'm like, this is dumb. That's really complicated for like the same challenge. So you go through, it reads from your open FD, and this is kind of where things fall apart. Like, you can successfully open the same file twice, but when you try to read from it and it has like the same backing, what is it called, like a file desk kernel struct or something, it doesn't like it and it just fails. But you can open it just fine. So it's kind of a little bit trivia, but you call it with flag once, it gets through totally fine, it runs. You have the hanging FD from this branch, hanging kernel file desk from this branch. Then you go through again, read fails. We don't close the open FD in the parent thread. You go through with your dev standard in or your proc self FD0, whichever, and you read in your shellcode and you're able to access the file descriptor that was opened that second time you opened the flag. So then you can just read directly from that FD because the original, I believe, was closed, and get the contents. Also, the end time, I hope people figured out, is just fake. Because we're in seccomp, and I'm just kind of like, oh, I'll just use get time, and I'm like, wait a minute. And I'm like, oh, I'll just install the seccomp filter, and I'm like, I really don't want to. So it doesn't matter. It's just another field for you to overwrite, leak data through. Oh yeah.
I just want to say shout outs to the one single team that found out you could leak bytes one at a time with the return code.
No, that's disabled.
One of the teams did this.
Really? Which team?
This was the team Tasteless.
Tasteless. Tasteless is...
They read one
there,
byte
if you scroll
and then
down,
SS call
down
exit.
there we go. Okay. Yes, trace it. Okay.
I think they were the only team that actually did it this method.
Okay, so they read flag, content equals payload, get leak payload. They write racks plus offset, where offset is I.
Yeah, it's one byte at a time.
Oh, that's offset from the flag. Okay. And then they go, let me compare with my RVP minus 28 is the address of the result struct. Is in racks. Racks plus 58 and 50. What's there?
Is that a start time and end?
I think, well, it would be a byte. That might be start time and end time. I don't really want to do the math right now in my head, but
if only you had a tool that would show you the stack layout for.
I have to screen share from my Windows PC, so that's
out of the question.
I think that is start time. Yeah, because it's offset by 8 too, so that would match up. So they put the bottom byte of start time, end time in there, I guess. And yeah. Cool. Yeah, they do.
That's really cool.
That's a really nice solution. I like that.
Because this was something that was, Glenn, you found this during testing, right? This was like initially an unintended solution.
It was initially much easier, where you can just call exit with the code.
I assume you patched it such that exit no longer gives you the return status.
Yeah, return status does not print anymore. So now it is uncomment this to make the challenge easier, but it is commented out.
Well, I am very amazed to see someone else trying the same strategy because, like, it's valid.
And made it work.
It totally is, yeah. I mean, it gets you the flag just in a couple more iterations, but it gets you the flag. That's all that matters.
Yeah, it's super nice. And how many solves did we end up with? There were like fewer on this one, right? Than the first challenge.
Yeah, there were 21 on this one.
Okay, almost half.
Yeah.
Interesting. We'll see if it swings back up on the next challenge.
We expect it, right? We expect it a little bit easier on the next one. So
yeah,
you never know.
So before going to that, I mean, Josh, do we have any Any other like closing thoughts on this, or Jordan or Glenn for that matter?
I think more people should use PHP and funky languages to write exploits.
Yeah.
You use Rust in your
entertaining.
solve script, I will give you a shout out. I won't give you more points or anything, but I'll give you a shout out.
I
mean,
will it finish
internet
building
credit.
though?
Yeah, might have to up the build time limit on the.
Yeah.
Well, you can pre-compile your. You can pre. That's a that's
send
a way
the base64 string.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Benchmark. The second challenge we had. Trace Me Maybe is open. I don't know, Glenn, is there anything you want to say about it at this point?
Well, if the name wasn't a hint, this is sort of a successor to Syscall Me Maybe from last year. This is mentioned in the description. Chris Eagle was like, hey, I don't need to use a Python script for that. I can solve your challenge just like with my mind in a text editor. And then he did.
Published his solution later. Yeah,
he did. He literally was like, here's your solution. It's just a text file. So
yeah. We're hoping he has to use something more than a text file. Yeah, is that the? So yeah. now that you've laid the gauntlet down, though, I feel like he might just try to do it anyways that way.
I mean, it's worth a shot. I don't think you'll get very far because you don't get like output. But no hints. So
all right. That sounds good. So yeah, we've got and just as a reminder too, overall we're gonna have 6 challenges. So oh yeah, we do have a couple of comments in chat as well too that I'll mention. So we've got Sky Kaba and Mr. Copycat just talking about their progress on this challenge. They found that it always read failed in the second read and they didn't realize why. Right, that read was failing because as Josh mentioned, the handle's not closed, right, on the file, so you can't.
Yeah, you're reading from like 2 different FDs, but they point to the same kernel structure, and it's just angry. So
that was sort of the hint. You were actually on the right track there because that was telling you that it was actually open and that you could use it, use that open file handle, right? Because you were otherwise limited by seccomp. So yeah, thanks for hopping in chat and asking questions. And hopefully we'll get some more feedback from there as well. So yeah, overall, like I said, we've got 2 challenges totally complete. Third that's in progress. We're coming up on the halfway point. This is the only broadcast you're going to see all 4 of us on it. We'll have different sleep schedules as we're trying to cover this whole 24-hour window as well, like we know some of the teams are too. But yeah, definitely let us know if you have any questions in Discord, and I guess we'll see you back in 4 hours. Maybe Carl, Glenn, Josh, anybody got anything else?
No. Good luck with the challenge. Have fun.
Yep,
and if you have any questions or comments, post it in the DEF CON CTF channel.
All right. That sounds great. Take care, everybody.